This is going to be a brief reminder of how to do form identifications for Latin 1. This will be for verbs and nouns. So remember, every part of speech has its own set of qualities that it can have. So if we're talking about a verb not a verb, the verb will have two things. It will have person and it will have number. Now, first of all, person is going to be either first person, second person, or third person, and those are the only options. For number, well, you might think, first, second, and third, those sound like numbers. That's what I need to put for number, but no, number is either singular or plural, and nothing else. And that's all you can really have for your verb form ID. So you need to say first, second, or third person, singular or plural. Another set of numbers that you might remember is the conjugation, right? If we look at ludo, ludere, to play, well, that's a third conjugation verb. Third also sounds like a number, but that's not the number we're interested in here. Similarly, habeo, habere, then that's second conjugation, a number, but not what we mean by number when we're talking about form identifications. Cupio, cupere, that's third IO, and if I ask for a form identification, you might need to think about that to figure out what the form is, but what conjugation is, I really don't care. So let's take a look at what these look like again, just as a little refresher. If, let's say, I am playing, well, you have ludo, it's first person singular because I am doing it, so ludo, I play. Think about your ending, O. Then if you are playing, this is second person singular, so you have ludus, you play, you have your ending S there. If he, she, or it is playing, ludit, well, then you have your T ending, so you have OST. Then, if we play, ludimus, if you all play, luditus, our ending is tis, and then if they play, you have ludunt, and the ending is nt. So, you have OST, mus, tis, nt. If I were to give you a random form of, let's say, habeo, habere, and I gave you habetus there, then you would say, okay, OST, that's first, second, and third singular. None of those. Continue on with your chant. Mus, tis, well, it's the second one on the plural side, so you must be in second person plural. And that is all you would write here for a form ID, second person plural. If we want to fill these in, just so you see them again, with a second conjugation, you would have habeo for I play, or have, right? If you have something, habes, as I make the computer beep horribly. If he, she, or it has, habet, we have, habemus, you all have, habetus, and they have, habent. And if I desire, cupio, if you desire, cupis, second person singular, he, she, or it desires, cupit. If we all desire, cupimus, you all desire, cupitus, and third IO, we're going to have that stupid little I get in the way, so we'll have cupiant. So you can conjugate these like we've always been doing all year, and remember, for the form ID, it's just what row and column is this in. Is this on the singular side here? Or the plural side? That tells you singular or plural. And you got first, second, or third, first, second, third. That's all I need for a form ID. You might need to think about what conjugation it is, but I don't even need to know. That's not what I'm actually asking. And if you add extra numbers to it, it might get a little confusing. We'll be doing some more drills with this later on, practicing our conjugations again, because we haven't done that in a while. And yeah, just think back about this, look at your notes. You should have this pretty well down, but might need a bit of a refresher. So now if we look at some nouns, nouns are going to have a little bit more in the way of a form identification. And technically this isn't just nouns, adjectives are going to have the same stuff, and some pronouns too. But let's just focus on nouns, and we can call other things noun-like when we get to them. So a noun, that's going to have three things. It's going to have case, number, and gender. So the number is the same number that we had before. It's going to be singular or plural. Gender, this is just the property of a word. So once you learn what gender a word is, you just know it. And so this is part of your vocab. You don't actually have to think about this too much once you've learned a word. This can be masculine, feminine, or neuter. And remember, we don't say male or female because, well, they're not actually, like, it's not like a dude word and a lady word and they have a little word family, right? That would be kind of strange. Nope, masculine, feminine. They're not actually male or female. So those are your three options there. And then you have your case. And that is this whole set of things here: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. So remember our little mnemonic to remember this: never get dinner at Arby's. Hopefully we'll get a YouTube complaint there. But I stand by that advice. You have these three things. So we start off here. If I were to decline this, we start off with lana here, right? For wool. Well, it's a first declension noun, but that first doesn't matter up here. That's not one of the qualities. That's just what it looks like when it does a thing. So that tells us we use the I endings. It doesn't go in there. Just like the conjugation of the verb didn't matter up here for what I was asking. So if you have lana, that form ID would be nominative, it's singular, and it's feminine, because this word is going to be feminine all the way through. But we go lanai, well, we go ai, here it's going to be genitive, singular, feminine. Dative, well, lanai, so dative, singular, feminine again. Lanam, that'll be accusative, singular, feminine. And then lana, with that macron that is going to be sometimes difficult to enter in the Google environment, that's going to be ablative, singular, feminine. So all feminine just because it's this word here, and it's all singular because it's on this side of the chart. But if we keep going with well, then we'll have lanai again. So that will be nominative plural now, feminine still. Lanarum, genitive plural, feminine. Lanis, dative plural, feminine. Catch up, computer, please. There we go. Lanas, accusative plural, feminine. And lanis, ablative plural, feminine. So the word determines the gender. Whether or not it's on the top or the bottom, the first or the second half of your chant determines, or will tell you rather, if it's singular or plural. And then you just stop when you get, okay, nominative, genitive, dative. Oh, okay, this is the one I'm looking for. If you were looking for right? You have something that ends in you go, okay, it's the fourth one, so never get dinner at. Well, that's going to be accusative. And so if I asked you for that form ID, this is what you would write: accusative, singular, and feminine. Now, if we did the same thing with the pig, we decline our pig. You have porcus. Well, he's nominative singular, masculine, because pig is just defined to be masculine. Then we would have porky here. This would be genitive singular. Porco, porcum, and porco. If you go down here, you'll have porky, porcorum, not porkies, porkies, porcos, and porquis. So if I asked you for the form ID for, let's say, porkies here, if you were in a sentence now, then things could get a little trickier because you have two possibilities. If you just have porkies all on its own, and I ask you for a form ID, well, now you have two options here because, well, which is it? So you could write something like dative / ablative, plural, and masculine, because it could be either of these things, and you don't really know. Similarly, if I gave you something like lanai, right, then it gets more tricky still because, well, lanai, it could be genitive singular feminine, it could be dative singular feminine, or it could be nominative plural feminine. The word on its own has any of those three options. And so that's your general form ID. Now, if it happens to be in a sentence, though, then you can narrow it down, right? If I say, oh, I'm giving things to the pigs, like multa dona porcis do, I give many gifts, well, to the pigs, only one of those options is going to actually make sense here. And that would let you rule out dative, and you'd be like, goodbye. Sorry, that would let you select dative. So you would say, okay, I'm giving them to the pigs. The ablative is what you don't have here. So then you could tell, oh, this has to be dative plural masculine. So with your form IDs, if there's an option, if there are multiple possibilities, if I just give you a random word, list all possibilities. But if it's in a sentence, if there is something else around it that can limit it, then you figure out which one it is. Just to continue on with a little bit of declension practice here too, well, we have sidus, sideris. Please stay away, monster. So we have sidus. This is a neuter, and notice that it's also third declension. So the nominative is going to look kind of funky, but we get our stem from the genitive here, so sider. So we have sidus, the star, nominative, neuter, singular. But then, of the star, genitive, neuter, singular, would be sideris. If I give something to the star, sideri, like if I shoot all of our garbage into the sun, sideri, dative. But then, because it's neuter, the first rule of neuter nouns, nominative and accusative look the same. So then, whatever the heck you started with repeats. So you have sidus again. And then sidere. So if I asked you the form ID for sidere here, you would say, well, it's ablative, it is singular, and it is neuter. And then you would write ablative, neuter, singular, or in whatever order there. Now, if we go on to the plural, well, you'll have your stem, sider, but the second rule of neuter nouns, which you want to remind yourself of, nominative and accusative plurals, end in a. So you have sidera, and so this would be nominative, plural, neuter. You'd have siderum, sideribus, sidera, and sideribus. So here you would have, a genitive, plural, neuter. And remember, this um ending for your third declensions is tricky. You can often think that is one of these accusative singulars, but if you remember what declension you're in, it still matters what declension it is, because this tells you, oh, third declension, that's got to be your genitive plural. So it's not that the number of the declension doesn't matter, but it's just not what you write down to answer the question. Well, sideribus, then you would have, in this case, it would be dative, plural, neuter, but similarly, it's going to look the same as the ablative there. So you can just fill stuff out like this. We will be doing a bit more declension practice too. Fun thing about this word too, if you talk about the motion of the stars, if you hold a camera up or notice that they seem to shift in the sky, that is called sidereal motion. Then, last one, well, we look at rex. Here's another third declension, but he's masculine. So rex would be nominative, singular, masculine. Then you'd have regis, like the weird talk show dude. Then you would have regi, regem, and rege. In the plural, you'd have reges, regium, because he's an I stem, regibus, reges, and regibus. If I asked you for the form ID for reges here, then, well, you would have two options. You could say nominative or accusative, plural, masculine. And then if it's in a sentence, you might have to pick between these. So that's what you want for any of your form ID questions. If it's a noun, then you want case, number, and gender. And remember, while there are a lot of things that are numbers, the things that we put down for number don't actually sound like numbers. They're either singular or plural, and that is it. Gender, you'll have masculine, feminine, or neuter, and case will be nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, or ablative. If we're looking at a verb, well, the only thing that has in common is number. It's still going to be singular or plural, but there we care about whether it's first, second, or third person. And that is all. There is plenty more you can tell me about these words, but that is not what the question is for. Person and number or case, number, gender, and that is it.